The alien Huntress had never failed a hunt. Across 7 star systems, her name was spoken with fear and respect. She was trained from childhood to track, chase, and capture those who broke sacred law. She did not rush. She did not hesitate. She followed the trail until the end came, always quietly, always clean. This hunt was different from the start. The target was a human. Humans were still new to this side of the galaxy. Loud, curious, reckless. Most species believed they lacked respect for tradition and sacred boundaries. This one had crossed the worst boundary of all. He had entered the protected lands surrounding the death pool. The death pool was not just water. It was ancient. Older than the Huntress's people, older than their cities and stars. Legend said it erased anything that touched it. Body, memory, and soul gone. Even the elders did not fully understand it. They only knew one rule. No one enters, ever. The human had ignored that rule. The Huntress moved through the forest with silent steps. Her armor blended with the colors of stone and leaf. Sensors glowed faintly along her arms, reading broken branches, disturbed soil, faint heat prints. The human's trail was not hard to follow. He made no effort to hide. That confused her. Most prey ran in panic once they sensed her presence. This one walked. Sometimes he even stopped. He knelt beside strange glowing plants, touched the bark of ancient trees, and watched small creatures scatter through the undergrowth. He behaved like a visitor, not a criminal. She paused on a ridge and studied him from a distance. He was smaller than her, softer in build, with no natural armor or claws. His clothing was light, clearly made for exploration, not combat. A simple pack rested on his back. He should have been terrified. Instead, he hummed. The sound was low and strange, carrying through the quiet forest. Not a battle chant, not a warning call. It sounded relaxed. The Huntress felt something unfamiliar tighten in her chest. She pushed the feeling away and continued. The forest changed as they moved closer to the sacred zone. The trees grew taller, their trunks twisted with age. The air became heavy, charged with faint energy that made her armor hum softly. Ancient markers appeared, stone pillars carved with symbols warning of death and erasure. The human noticed them. He slowed, traced the carvings with his fingers, and tilted his head. "Wow," he said softly, speaking to no one. "You guys really don't want visitors." The Huntress frowned. The translators in her helm rendered his words clearly. He knew this place was forbidden, yet he kept going. She descended the ridge and followed at closer range now. If he tried to enter the inner zone, she would act. Sacred law demanded it. A small creature lay injured near the path, one of the forest dwellers crushed beneath a fallen branch. The Huntress expected the human to step over it. Instead, he stopped. He removed his pack, knelt, and carefully lifted the branch. The creature squeaked in fear, but he spoke softly, his voice calm. He wrapped its injured limb with a strip of fabric, crude but effective. After a moment, the creature scrambled away, pausing once to look back. The Huntress stared. No advantage was gained from this act. No law required it, yet he had chosen kindness in a place of death. Her grip tightened on her weapon. This made no sense. The ground sloped downward and the sound reached her ears before the sight did. Water. Not the gentle flow of a stream, but something deeper, heavier. A low, constant presence that vibrated through stone and bone. They were close now. The death pool lay beyond the next rise. The Huntress's heart beat faster. Even she avoided looking upon it for long. The elders taught that to stare into its depths was to invite madness. The human reached the edge of the forest and stopped. Before him stretched a vast clearing of smooth white stone, sloping down toward a massive circular pool. The water was impossibly still. No ripples, no steam. It reflected the sky like a perfect mirror. Ancient pillars surrounded it, cracked with age but still standing. Symbols glowed faintly along their sides, pulsing like a warning heartbeat. The Huntress stepped from the shadows, weapon raised. "Halt," she commanded. The human turned slowly. He did not scream. He did not reach for a weapon. He raised his hand slightly and smiled. "Oh," he said, "there you are." Her eyes narrowed. "You are in violation of sacred law. Step away from the pool and submit." He glanced back at the water, then at her. "So that's what you call it." "Death pool, right?" She stiffened. "You know its name." "Hard not to," he replied. "Your warning signs are very dramatic." "This place is not for your kind," she said. "Nothing survives those waters." He studied her armor, her stance, the weapon trained on his chest. Instead of fear, she saw curiosity in his eyes. "Has anyone actually tested that?" he asked. Her voice hardened. "No one needs to." He chuckled softly, shaking his head. "That sounds like something people say right before they're proven wrong." Her finger tightened on the trigger. "Another step and I will end this." The human sighed and looked at the pool again. The reflected sky shimmered faintly as if responding to his gaze. "You know," he said, "back on Earth we've got this saying, 'Curiosity killed the cat.'" She waited, confused. "But," he continued, smiling wider, "the cat usually comes back." Before she could react, he ran. He sprinted toward the pool, boots pounding against ancient stone. The Huntress shouted and fired a stunned pulse, but the energy bolt struck the ground inches behind him. "No!" she yelled. He reached the edge, did not slow, did not hesitate. He leaped. Not a careful jump, not a fearful fall. He tucked his knees, wrapped his arms, and cannonballed straight into the forbidden waters. The impact echoed like thunder. Water exploded upward in a massive splash, breaking the surface that had been still for millennia. Waves rolled outward, slamming against the stone banks. The ancient pillars flared with light, their symbols burning bright. The Huntress froze. Her breath caught as she stared at the churning water. This was impossible. The pool had never reacted like this, ever. Seconds passed, then more. She expected silence. Erasure, nothing. Instead, the water began to glow from within. Light spread beneath the surface, swirling where the human had vanished. The glow pulsed, slow and steady like a living heart. The Huntress stepped closer, her weapon lowering without her noticing. "What are you?" she whispered. The death pool did not answer, but it did not destroy him either. The surface rippled again, once, twice, as if something below was moving. The Huntress's world, her laws, her training, her certainty, began to crack. And somewhere beneath the sacred waters, a human was still very much alive. She looked up at him, tears bright in her dark eyes. "They will come now, all of them." Daniel helped her stand. "Then they'll find humans waiting." Far away, alarms sounded across the stars. And for the first time in a very long time, the galaxy began to fear humanity, not for its weapons, but for its refusal to look away. The relay went silent after the light faded. The ancient structure cooled, its glow sinking back into the dark metal ring. Daniel Cross stood still, his arms supporting the alien woman as she leaned against him, weak but alive. The broadcast was done. There was no taking it back. Outside the relay, space had changed. Ships were arriving, not all at once and not in order. They came from different directions, different technologies, different speeds. Some were small scouts. Others were massive carriers that bent space around them. Many kept their distance, unsure of what they were approaching. The dead reach, once avoided by all sane beings, was now the center of the galaxy's attention. Daniel helped her sit against a smooth wall. "Stay with me," he said gently. She nodded. "I am still here. The relay took much, but not all." "That's good," he replied. "Because I don't think we're done." She followed his gaze toward the outer sensors. Red markers appeared one by one. "They are afraid," she said softly. "Good," Daniel answered. "Fear makes people slow." "They are not people," she reminded him. He shrugged. "Everyone makes mistakes." The first hostile signal arrived moments later. A tight beam transmission forced its way through the relay's ancient systems. Daniel rerouted it to a speaker. A cold, controlled voice filled the chamber. "You have violated the balance. Surrender the archive carrier immediately." Daniel stepped forward, placing himself between the speaker and her. "No," he said simply. There was a pause, then, "You are a minor species. This matter is beyond you." Daniel smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Funny thing about humans, we get involved anyway." The signal cut. "They will attack," she said. "I figured," Daniel replied. He tapped his wrist display, activating a tight emergency channel. "Let's see who's listening." Across the stars, the broadcast they had unleashed was still echoing. Worlds that had lived in quiet ignorance now knew the truth. Some reacted with fear, some with rage, and some with something far more dangerous: hope. Human space was far away, but not unreachable. The signal Daniel sent was short, raw, and unfiltered. "No codes, no politics. This is Daniel Cross, frontier technician. If anyone can hear this, the coalition is real. They erase civilizations. We have proof. We chose to act. Do what you will." He ended the transmission and looked at her. "That's all I've got," he said. She studied his face. "That will be enough." The first shots came without warning. Energy lanced across space, striking the relay's outer ring. Ancient shields flared to life, barely holding. Daniel felt the vibration through the floor. "They're testing us," he said. "Yes," she agreed. "They want the archive intact." "Too bad," Daniel replied. "It's already everywhere." More ships arrived. Coalition vessels formed a loose perimeter, careful not to enter the reach fully. They fired again, stronger this time. The relay groaned. "They will break it," she said. "Not before help arrives," Daniel said, though he did not know if that was true. Minutes passed like hours. The attacks intensified. Parts of the relay tore away, drifting into the dark. Then something unexpected happened. A coalition ship exploded, not from the relay, from behind. Daniel's eyes widened as new markers appeared on the display. Ships of unfamiliar design. Some were old. Some patched together. Some carried markings of species thought extinct. "They came," she whispered. "Who?" Daniel asked. "The ones who survived," she said. "The ones who were never supposed to." The dead reach filled with chaos. Coalition ships turned, formations breaking as they faced attackers they did not expect. These new ships fought with desperation, not precision. They were not here to win cleanly. They were here to make a point. Daniel felt a strange tightness in his chest. "You didn't just broadcast memories." "No," she said. "I broadcast proof and an invitation." Another explosion lit the void. Then a new signal came in. This one was familiar. "Unidentified forces at the relay stand by. This is the Terran fleet." Daniel froze. The voice continued, calm and steady. "We are receiving multiple confirmations of hostile actions by coalition elements. By authority of human command, we are entering the dead reach." She looked at Daniel in shock. "They came anyway." He laughed, a short, breathless sound. "Of course they did." Human ships emerged from warped space like predators stepping into fire. They did not hesitate. They did not form neat lines. They moved straight into the storm, shields flaring, weapons hot. The coalition had never seen humans fight like this. Not for territory, not for resources, but for something abstract and dangerous: truth. The battle was loud, messy, and fast. Human ships took damage and kept going. When systems failed, crews adapted. When plans broke, they improvised. The reach punished everyone equally, but humans leaned into it, using unstable gravity and debris as weapons. Daniel watched in awe. "They shouldn't be able to do this," she said. "They shouldn't," he agreed. "But they can." The coalition line collapsed under pressure from all sides. Some ships fled, others were destroyed. The rest went silent, choosing survival over control. Slowly, space grew quieter. The relay, damaged but standing, drifted among wreckage and fading energy trails. Daniel exhaled deeply. "I think we won. For now," she said. "They will not forget this." "Neither will we," he replied. Hours later, a human shuttle docked with the relay. Marines entered first, weapons ready, then lowered them when they saw Daniel. "Sir," one of them said. "You look like hell," Daniel grinned. "You should see the other guys." Medical teams rushed to her side, careful and respectful. She allowed them to scan her, watching everything with calm curiosity. A human officer approached Daniel. "Command wants a full report." "You'll get it," Daniel said, "but listen to her first." The officer nodded. As they prepared to leave the relay, she paused and looked back at the ancient structure. "My people believed memory was enough," she said. "I think they were wrong." Daniel followed her gaze. "What do you think now?" "I think memory needs guardians," she replied, "and I think we just found some." They returned to human space days later. The galaxy was already changing. Worlds demanded answers. Coalitions fractured. The Watchers went silent. Humanity did not declare war. It did not claim leadership. It simply stood in the open and refused to look away. Daniel was offered promotions, medals, power. He refused most of it. He accepted one thing only, a place to stay. She stayed too, not as a weapon, not as a symbol, but as a voice. She spoke to councils, to scientists, to ordinary people. She told stories of worlds lost and choices made too late. Humans listened. Years later, when children asked how everything changed, the story was simple. A human stayed when it was hard. Someone appeared at midnight, smiling, ready to trust. And humanity answered, not with dominance but with courage. The galaxy never forgot that moment, and for the first time it truly understood why humans were dangerous. Because when asked to choose between comfort and conscience, they chose to stand. The water continued to glow. The Huntress stood at the edge of the death pool, her weapon hanging loosely at her side. Every rule she had ever learned told her to retreat, to seal the area, to report what had happened. Yet her feet refused to move. The pool was alive. Light swirled beneath the surface, forming slow circles that spread outward. The water was no longer still. It moved with purpose, as if responding to the presence within it. Ancient symbols carved into the stone around the pool shone brighter, lines of energy connecting pillar to pillar. Her helmet display flashed warnings. Energy levels were rising far beyond anything recorded before. "This is not possible," she said quietly. The death pool erased life. That was its purpose. That was its truth. And yet something was moving beneath the water. A shape rose slowly toward the surface. The Huntress's heart pounded as she raised her weapon again, unsure whether she was about to face a transformed monster or some unknown force wearing the human's shape. The water broke. The human burst upward, gasping loudly, water streaming from his hair and clothes. He coughed, sputtered, and flailed toward the edge of the pool, clearly struggling. The Huntress reacted without thinking. She dropped to one knee, reached out and grabbed his arm, pulling him free of the water. He collapsed onto the stone beside her, chest heaving, laughing between breaths. "That," he said hoarsely, "was colder than I expected." She stared at him in disbelief. He was alive, whole. No burns, no wounds, no sign of damage. His skin glowed faintly, veins traced with soft blue light that slowly faded as he lay there catching his breath. "You should be dead," she said. "Yeah," he replied, smiling weakly. "I get that a lot today." She pushed him back, weapon rising again. "Do not move." He raised his hands again, still smiling, though his eyes showed exhaustion. "Easy. I'm not going anywhere." The pool behind them began to calm. The glow dimmed, the water slowly returning to its unnatural stillness as if nothing had happened. The Huntress's mind raced. This should not exist. This moment should not exist, and yet it did. "You violated sacred law," she said, forcing her voice to steady. "You awakened something ancient. You may have doomed this world." The human sat up slowly, careful not to provoke her. "Or maybe," he said, "I woke it up for the first time." She hesitated. No one had ever survived the death pool. No one had ever returned to tell what it truly was. Everything her people believed came from fear and silence. "What did you see?" she asked before she could stop herself. He blinked, surprised by the question. Then his expression softened. "It wasn't death," he said slowly. "It was pressure, like the water was everywhere, inside and out. It felt like it was asking a question." "A question?" she repeated. "Yeah," he nodded. Not in words, more like a feeling. It wanted to know what I was, why I came, what I feared. "And what did you answer?" she asked. He shrugged. "I didn't try to lie, I just thought about home, about curiosity. About how humans keep touching things we're told not to." The Huntress looked back at the pool. The symbols had dimmed now, but she could still feel the echo of energy in the air. "This place judges," she said quietly. "That is what the elders taught." "They said it found us wanting," the human frowned. "Maybe it just didn't like being treated like a weapon." Her eyes snapped back to him. "Explain," he gestured toward the pool. "You call it death pool, you built rules around it, fear, worship. Maybe it was never meant to kill. Maybe it was meant to understand." She said nothing. That thought was dangerous. She activated her communicator, opening a secure channel to her people's command. The signal struggled, distorted by lingering energy from the pool. "Sacred zone breach confirmed," she reported. "Target is alive." There was a long pause, then angry voices flooded the channel. "Alive?" one elder demanded. "Impossible. It is the truth," she replied. The pool reacted, it did not destroy him. "End the anomaly," another voice ordered. "Erase the human before contamination spreads." Her grip tightened. The human watched her face carefully. "Let me guess," he said. "They want me gone." "They want you erased," she corrected. He nodded slowly. "Figures." She ended the transmission without confirming compliance. The silence that followed felt heavy. "You disobeyed them," the human said softly. "I have delayed," she replied. "That is not the same." "Feels pretty close," he said. She studied him more closely now. The faint glow beneath his skin was almost gone, but something about him felt different, not dangerous, not hostile, just changed, as if the pool had touched something deeper than flesh. "What are you?" she asked again. He smiled sadly. "Human." They did not have much time. The forest around the clearing stirred. The Huntress's sensors detected incoming signals, others like her, elite enforcers responding to the alarm triggered by the pool's awakening. "They are coming," she said. "Many of them." The human stood, testing his balance. "Then I guess we should talk fast." "Why did you come here?" she demanded. "Not just curiosity. No one risks this much for a rumor." He hesitated, then reached into his pack. He removed a small device and activated it. A faint hologram appeared between them. Images of planets scarred by war, dead ecosystems, collapsing stars. "My people are expanding," he said quietly. "Fast, and not always carefully. We're trying to understand ancient forces before we repeat old mistakes on a bigger scale." He looked at the pool. This place felt important. "You trespassed," she said. "I learned," he replied. That answer unsettled her more than fear ever had. The first of the enforcers emerged from the forest, weapons drawn, armor gleaming. They formed a wide circle around the pool, eyes fixed on the human. "Huntress," their leader said, "step away, this ends now." She did not move. "He survived the pool," she said loudly. "You see it yourselves." "An abomination," the leader spat. "The pool must be sealed." The water stirred slightly, as if reacting to the word. The human took a step forward. "You don't have to do this," he said. "I didn't break anything, I proved something." The enforcers raised their weapons. The Huntress moved without thinking. She stepped in front of him, placing herself between the guns and the human. Gasps rippled through the group. "You would protect it," the leader demanded. "I protect truth," she replied. "And right now the truth is standing behind me." Energy crackled in the air. The pool glowed faintly again. The ancient symbols pulsed, brighter with every rising heartbeat, as if the death pool itself was listening. And for the first time in countless generations, the sacred law was no longer absolute. The enforcers did not fire. They hesitated, confused by the sight of one of their own standing in front of the human. The Huntress felt every weapon locked on her back. She knew what this meant. By their laws, she was now a traitor. The leader took a slow step forward. "Move aside," he ordered. "The human has corrupted the sacred ground." The ground reacted to him, the Huntress replied. It woke up. That is not corruption. You speak nonsense, the leader said. The death pool is a warning, not a gift. Behind her, the human spoke quietly. Or maybe it's both. The water rippled. It was small at first, just a soft wave across the surface. Then another followed, stronger. Light spread again beneath the water, brighter than before. The ancient pillars trembled, dust falling from their cracked surfaces. The enforcers shifted uneasily. This has never happened, one whispered. The huntress felt it now too, not danger, not hunger, something closer to attention. The pool was listening. The human stepped closer to her shoulder. It's reacting to fear, he said, and to honesty. Be silent, the leader snapped. But the death pool pulsed brighter when the human spoke. A deep sound rolled through the clearing, not a roar, not a voice, but a vibration that passed through stone, armor, and bone. Images flashed in the minds of everyone present, not visions of death, memories. They saw their ancestors standing at the pool long ago, not as rulers or priests, but as frightened survivors. They saw the first contact, the fear, the misunderstanding. They saw the pool testing, not destroying, but asking. And they saw their ancestors fail, not because they were weak, but because they answered with fear instead of truth. The enforcers staggered, weapons lowering. The leader fell to one knee, shaking. This is forbidden memory. No, the huntress said softly. This is forgotten memory. The human felt the images too. He saw alien worlds rise and fall, saw how the pool waited patiently as civilizations grew around it, misunderstood it, and turned it into a symbol of fear. When the visions faded, the clearing was silent. The death pool dimmed, its surface smooth once more. No one moved. The leader slowly looked up at the huntress, his voice unsteady. The elders, they were wrong. They were afraid, she said, so they built law from fear. The human took a step forward carefully. We do that too, he said, all the time. The enforcers did not stop him. What happens now? One of them asked. The huntress turned to the human. What did the pool leave within you? He closed his eyes, focusing. Understanding, he said, not answers, just awareness. Like it opened a door and said, now choose. A low hum spread across the clearing. The symbols on the pillars changed, rearranging into patterns none of them had ever seen before. The pool was no longer silent law. It was an invitation. The elders' ships arrived shortly after, dark shapes descending from the sky. Authority flooded the clearing, but it felt weak now, fragile against what had just been revealed. The huntress stood her ground as the elders emerged, their expressions cold and furious. You disobeyed us, the high elder said. You sided with an outsider. I sided with truth, she replied. The elder pointed at the human. That thing must be destroyed before this spreads. The pool reacted instantly. The water rose, forming a tall, shimmering wall between the elders and the human. Energy crackled, not violent but firm. The human did not flinch. This isn't about me, he said calmly. It's about whether you keep hiding. The elder hesitated, looking at the living wall of water. Fear flickered across his face. You cannot control it, the elder said. No, the huntress agreed. But neither can you. Silence stretched. Finally, the elder lowered his hand. What do you want, human? The human smiled gently. Dialogue, not worship, not fear, just understanding. The pool slowly settled back into its basin. That was the moment everything changed. News spread fast across the system. The death pool was no longer sealed, not open to all, but no longer forbidden. Under careful watch, others approached it. Some were tested. Some turned away. None were destroyed. The huntress became a bridge between worlds. Once feared, she was now known as the one who stood still when history tried to run. The human stayed longer than expected. He worked with alien scholars, sharing human mistakes and lessons learned the hard way. He did not claim the pool. He respected it. That mattered. When he finally left, the huntress watched his ship rise into the sky. She felt something unfamiliar settle in her chest. Not loss. Not fear. Hope. The death pool remained, calm and patient, no longer a symbol of death. It had always been waiting for someone brave enough to jump in, not to conquer it, but to listen. And across the galaxy, stories spread of the day a human cannonballed into forbidden waters and taught an ancient civilization how to move forward instead of hiding behind fear. Humanity did not arrive as destroyers. They arrived as questioners. And the universe, for the first time in a very long while, answered.